Welcome back to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And I'm your host, Daniela Korth. And today we have Dr. Buzz, like always, and Megan's back. Say hi,
Hi.
Megan.
Hey, Megan.
In today's episode, the GLP glass slipper. Yep, that's what I'm
Boy.
calling it. And here we go. So we're going to start with a real quick overview of what GLPs actually do. And then we're going to talk about all the other things. So Dr. Buzz, what do GLPs actually do?
Actually, they work on several different mechanisms. They've been around for a long time, but they help slow gut motility, so it makes you feel more full.
Mm-hmm.
So it also, I think one of the biggest things is that it modulates dopamine, which basically what that does is a lot of the reason people eat is because you get a dopamine rush of it, kind of like the same reason people flick on their cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Way to
But
call
but
it
anyways,
out.
but it modulates that. So it's not that it takes the enjoyment out of eating, but like that habit of eating, it really minimizes that. So those are the two main functions, and it also helps with blood sugar regulation. So it works on several different mechanisms, and that's why they're so effective.
Okay. All right. And then, so also, just so we know, like I'm on a GLP-1,
I'm
Megan's on a
GLP.
GLP-1, Dr. Buzz takes a GLP-1 once in a while. And so we're going to kind of go over just why we take them and our experience. And then Dr. Buzz can talk about the different GLP-1s on the market. All right. So, Megan, we're going to start with you.
All right. So I have been microdosing retatrutide. Am I
Yep,
saying that right?
Retatrutide.
Okay.
Yep.
Retatrutide. I have been microdosing that. I'm almost done with my first vial, and I don't dislike it. I definitely like it better than semaglutide or the GLP-1 because it's not quite as, I don't get the nausea with it, and
I
it
think the
doesn't
most side
impact
effects
my.
happen with semaglutide.
Okay.
Mhm.
Why is that?
I don't know the mechanism on that, but I feel like a lot of people, if semaglutide has the most side effects, and I also feel like it might be the weakest of them, but it's
Mhm.
also the least expensive. So it's kind of like the gateway people get into.
Okay.
I think trizepatide probably is the best appetite suppressant.
See, that's what I'm missing from the one that I'm on now is I don't feel like I'm getting the appetite suppression, and it also doesn't punish me as severely as
Correct.
semaglutide did.
I think so. Trizepatide slows down gut motility the most.
Okay.
So that's why it gives you the most satiety and makes you feel the most full. The advantage of retatrutide, though, is it does the best with blood sugar modulation.
Mm-hmm.
So for people that are already have lost the weight and just want to do microdosing, as long as they keep their appetite in check, they'll keep more muscle in that. Because the downside of trizepatide is you just don't eat.
Right.
So I do think for someone who's severely obese and they have a huge eating problem, trizepatide would probably be my go-to.
Okay.
But I think once you lose the weight, the retatrutide, because it works on all these different mechanisms, is a better choice.
Okay, good. So I picked the right one because
Yeah.
that was the main thing when I was on the semaglutide is
Trizepatide, you can almost lose too much weight, though.
right.
And you also have to be very aware, because you don't eat, you can lose muscle. And if you lose muscle, your metabolism slows down, so you're more likely to gain weight when you get off of it. So
Yep.
I think a good clinical approach is, if you said what's the best, I'd say take trizepatide first to get to your target weight. And then once you get to your target weight, then a retatrutide is a better option to kind of keep the weight off in a microdosing fashion.
All right. Well, that's good.
And there's
news.
lots of very good metabolic benefits with retatrutide too.
Mhm.
That's said blood sugar modulation, the dopamine modulation. Another huge thing that the GLP-1s do is a lot of people drink alcohol. And the GLP-1s, because they modulate dopamine, really take the craving for alcohol away for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people, they'll work all day, come home, have a glass of wine or a beer, and then next thing you know, you're eating something you shouldn't be doing.
Mhm.
I can just tell you from my own personal experience, I used to, when I would go to dinner, always associate going to dinner with having a drink,
Yeah.
glass of wine or whatever. And when you're on the GLP-1s, it's the weirdest thing. You just don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you
and
don't
that-
crave it,
and that's
you know?
all dopamine.
You don't crave anything when you're
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
GLP-1s.
so that's definitely one of the huge benefits of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to just jump in and say that I was taking trizepatide, and then I was like, and I take it a microdose. I mean, I take it to deal with my Hashimoto's and thyroid issues personally, and so that's why I take it. But I was on trizepatide, and like he said, it just cuts your appetite, and I like to eat because I like to work out, and I don't want to lose my muscle. So when retatrutide came out, I was like, I'm going to try that.
Same.
But the issue that I had with it is I would take it and I'm like, go eat a tray of brownies.
Mhm.
Like, it was not cutting it for me.
With trizepatide, you can't do that. Trizepatide,
Right.
because the gut motility slows down so much. If you eat bad,
you
you
will
feel like you
right.
ate a turkey.
Yeah.
Like your gut will bloat, and
But
yeah,
with
so
Retta, I was just like, and I'm saying Retta for short, but it's like, I'm like, okay, where's the snacks? Where's the food? Give me this, give me that. Ooh, I'm hungry. Ooh, I need chocolate, you know?
Oh yeah, I crave sweets.
Yeah,
on
I was
this
craving
one
sweets
still.
a lot. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. And I jump back on trizipatide because I feel like that works best for me with what my goals are. Because, like I said, I'm purely taking it for me for like Hashimoto's and thyroid issues, kind of just like a maintenance,
Hmm.
just so like I don't get out of control with my
Right.
insulin
Which was
resistance.
my goal also, because I didn't want to lose a bunch of muscle again, because I've been building my muscle back up for the last 2 years. Because I think it's been, 2 years next week since I lost all of my weight.
how much weight did you lose?
I lost 55 pounds.
Wow,
Wow.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I've kept it off for 2 years. So next week, I
That's
think it's
awesome.
September 2nd is my 2-year anniversary. So that's a big milestone for me.
You do have to
And-
say the GLP-1s are definitely superior to the old way we do weight loss. The old way
Mhm.
was like phentermine and HCG and those
phentermine's
other things,
rough.
and like the GLP-1s are light years ahead of those
Mhm.
medications for weight loss. So, anytime I see someone who's overweight, I just think to myself, I wonder if they've ever tried trizepatide, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you could overeat taking trizepatide.
I don't think you could. I think you'd be so sick.
Yeah.
There's no way.
You know, and obviously being overweight and the comorbidities involved with it are
Mhm.
are bad for people, and I really feel like anyone that's overweight, if they take trizepatide, you can get the weight off for sure.
Yeah. And that's why I started taking it again, is because we have the InBody, and I did my InBody scan and I noticed that my visceral fat was going back up and my weight wasn't changing and my muscle mass wasn't really changing that much either. It was just visceral fat. So I was a little worried that I was falling back into insulin resistance, which is why I wanted to start taking a GLP-1 again. But I think I'm on the right one then, because I don't want a huge appetite suppressant.
Yeah.
To shut me
might
down
need
and
a little
not eat.
you might need a little higher dose, and there's no cookie cutter with any of these things. That's kind of why
Mhm.
we have a toolbox. We have
Right.
semaglutide, trizipatide, and retatrutide, and for some people semaglutide works fine. They say it's the least expensive, and for some people it works great.
Right.
But after having taken all three of them, definitely trizipatide is the biggest appetite suppressant.
Mhm.
Retatrutide is the best with insulin sensitivity and keeping muscle, and semaglutide is kind of like the weakest of all those, but does work for some people.
Right. Especially if you've never taken a medication like that
100%, yeah.
before. Like, you're going to have results on semaglutide. It's not.
And I think it's fine to start
Mhm.
there.
Definitely.
And if it works for you, great. But
And then-
if you've taken semaglutide, and I hear it all the time, well, I took a GLP-1 and I got really sick, that's where the trizepatide would come in. Or even more importantly, what you have to keep in mind, if you're getting sick, it's because your gut motility slows down, because your microbiome is probably really messed
Yep.
up.
Mhm.
That's when you really should do some type of gut testing to figure out what's going on in your microbiome, because if you have like an H. pylori or some type of parasite, when you slow down that gut motility, you're going to get more sick. So it's really a symptom of something else is going on in your
Yep.
gut.
And that's what stinks for people, is because they'll start on semaglutide and they'll do great. And they might lose 20, 30 pounds. And then they just completely plateau and they can't figure out why. They haven't changed anything. And that's almost always what it is something's going on in their gut.
Yep.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was about to say, like, certain people start on semaglutide
Mhm.
and then they plateau and then they're like, why? And I'm like, well, you probably have like some gut issues happening. But they're like, no, maybe I'll try trizipatide.
Right.
And
But
then they'll try it and it's not going to work because you have gut issues that you have to address.
or it might work for a little bit, but
Right.
if you haven't corrected those underlying issues, you're going to struggle to maintain a healthy weight for your
Yep.
entire life, no matter what medication you're on or what diet, lifestyle, exercise regimen you're following.
Yeah,
Right.
they've actually done, fecal transplants as a new science, and what they found is, I think they started out with rats. They took fat rats and they put the microbiome of skinny rats into them, and they all lost
All
weight.
that.
And they took skinny rats and put the fat microbiome in them, and they all got fat.
Isn't it
So your
fascinating?
microbiome is often overlooked, but if your microbiome's messed up, no matter retatrutide, semaglutide, trizipatide, if your microbiome's messed up, you're going to struggle with weight the rest of your life. And you see people that are like that, like,
Yep.
but lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. If that's you got to test your gut.
Yep.
We were just watching The Biggest Loser, like on
Oh, the
Netflix.
old ones?
No, on Netflix. Have you seen that documentary?
Oh, no, I haven't
We were
watched it
watching
yet.
The Biggest Loser, the documentary on Netflix, okay? And I thought it was just going to be like the episodes.
Mhm.
And like growing up, that's what you watch, The Biggest Loser,
Yeah.
okay? But it was like the behind the scenes of The Biggest Loser and like how these people got there. And then like they went on the show to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then come to find out, these people are going on there, they weigh 300, 400 pounds, and they're literally working them out to death. I mean, these people were burning 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day, and they were only eating about 500 calories a day. And you know what happens? It's kind of like this is what happens with like the semaglutide, tirzepatide, retatrutide, is like, you're working out and you're burning all these calories, 6,000, 7,000 calories a day, but you're not eating enough food. And then so they were losing a ton of weight, right? You saw these people lose weight. And then after like one guy lost like 300 pounds. And then after the show, he won, he went home and he got fat again. And he's like, why am I getting fat? Well, one, like you completely destroyed your metabolism, right? By doing that. And so with, these GLP-1s, like you hear people and they talk about like, okay, I'm working out, I'm not eating. Like people will actually say to me, I'm taking these GLP-1s, I'm not eating, and I still can't lose weight.
I know. I hear that
I'm
all the
like,
time.
okay, but you need to eat. And I tell people all the time, you have to eat food.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, just because, and also another thing, even if you're on your maintenance dose, like if you're taking a GLP-1, I take the lowest dose possible, I think. He does my shot. And I stay there. And I tell people, just because everyone else is saying or you can go up in dose, you don't have to do that. You should always stay, I think
You stay at the
personally,
lowest dose
at
that
the
works for you.
lowest
Absolutely.
dose possible.
It's really hard to convince people because they kind of have the mentality that if some is good, more is better.
Yeah.
But with these medications, that is not the case. Especially if you progress your dose too quickly, you're going to have, nausea is going to be one of the worst things that you're going to deal with. Fatigue's going to be really bad. And you're just not going to have enough energy to
And
even
not
work
eating
out.
is not good.
No,
Like,
that
you
should
have to
never be
eat.
your goal.
I tell people all the time, like, you have to prioritize your food. You have to prioritize protein. You have to eat. Like, because if you don't eat, you're going to feel like crap.
And you're going to lose the wrong kind of weight.
And you're going to lose all your muscle mass.
Yep.
Along with
And then you'll
your
have
fat.
no butt.
No nothing. And I always tell people, so I always tell them, I'm like, if I was in your shoes, this is what I would do. Stay on the very low like dose that I possibly can to get good results. Because also another thing is too, I personally believe when you're on these GLP-1s, you're just solely relying on the medication. You're not doing anything else. You're just like, I'm going to rely on this.
Those people are always going to gain their weight back.
It's like, you need to move your body. You need to work out.
You need
move
to
your
reset
body,
habits.
do something. Yes. So that's another thing that I personally think that when
Well, if you really dig deeper,
it's
if someone can't lose weight, you have to look at cortisol levels too. So if
Yeah.
someone's cortisol levels are high, and particularly if you have a lot of fat around the belly, that's a sign of high cortisol. And you could lose weight on the GLP-1s, but if your cortisol levels are elevated, you're more likely to put the weight back on. And the other downside to having high cortisol is it creates systemic inflammation. It causes blood vessels to break down, causes heart issues, neuroinflammation, neurodegenerative diseases. So these people that are obese are very likely to have high cortisol also, which can have all these other detrimental health things. So, get a cortisol test done at your physician.
Yep.
Get your gut tested too, because those would be the root cause. The GLP-1 is a tool to get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
But you're overweight for a reason, and it could be your neuroendocrine system, which the adrenal test would diagnose for you, or it could be a severe gut dysbiosis. So if you really want to get to the root cause, you kind of got to go back to the beginning and figure out why is your metabolism? Because you have people that live together, eat the same food. One's overweight, one's not, and they do the same stuff. Well, that's either your gut or your hormones.
Well, yeah, now I believe that after learning so much about functional medicine, right, checking your adrenals and your gut and doing the organic acids, now my thought process definitely changed. It's like, before when people would feel like shit, I'm like, oh my gosh, we should check your hormones, right? You feel like shit, let's check your hormones. And just because like, that's just what I thought. And now I'm over here just like, well, if you feel like shit, we should probably do functional medicine.
Yeah. Or what kind of shit do you feel like?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what's happening? And
Yeah.
then we can kind of go through process of elimination.
Right. But I'm always just like, even with weight loss now, I just, I think what I always say is people want a quick fix And so it is easy to get on a GLP-1,
Mhm.
right? But if you're still struggling with the food, like you're not eating because you think that you'll lose weight on the GLP-1 faster, and then you're definitely not exercising, or maybe you are exercising, but you're still not losing weight, then it's really something is deeper in that. And that's where the functional
Mhm.
medicine comes in. And like I tell people too, you could be super inflamed. A lot of people have a ton of inflammation in the body, and they're like, What do you mean?" And I have people all the time that will say, "Oh my God, I got this inflammation out of my body and I dropped 10 pounds, or my stomach went down."
Mhm.
So it's wild too. And I've heard this from multiple people that are on GLP-1s. It's like I talk to doctors and they're like, "Yeah, they just can't lose weight." And I said, they might have a lot of inflammation in the body, right?
Yep.
Maybe you should try BPC 157.
Mhm.
And they'll do that. And I'll tell them, like, have them measure their waist, right?
Mhm.
And they'll do that. And then they're like, "Wow, we can't believe it."
I
Like,
do love the BPC 157 for when my gut's inflamed.
yeah,
If you are having stomach cramps or anything like that, or any type of digestion issues that don't make sense anywhere else, BPC 157 is where it's at.
yeah. I
Love it.
mean, I just love it. I think it's a great tool to have
Mm-hmm.
to go with a GLP-1 in case you need it for inflammation. But back to functional medicine too. I like that too.
How many times do we do an organic acid test on someone? And the kind of the cool thing about the organic acid test is that literally tells you how you take fat, carbohydrates, and protein and convert it into energy. And how often do you find someone that they don't break down carbohydrates properly, or they don't
Yep.
break down proteins properly, they don't break down fats properly? And something as simple as you see that on organic acid test, you add L-carnitine to their diet, and all of a sudden the weight just falls off of them.
Yep.
Yep.
Or they don't process carbohydrates, you put them on berberine or alpha lipoic acid.
Yep.
When they need it, you don't just take it randomly. So don't listen to the podcast and say, "Well, I'm going to go get L-carnitine." 'Cause if you don't need it, you don't want to take it.
Yep.
But that test will show you if you need it.
I love the organic acids test.
And then you add that in,
Love
and
it.
boom, 10, 15 pounds drops off just like that.
Right.
Yeah. I love that test. I think that if you're wanting to lose weight, you're in the fitness or whatever, that's one test that I really love because it does show how you are
It says what's going on in
metabolizing
the
and
cells.
yeah,
Yeah.
breaking down your fats, carbs, and proteins. And a lot of people have insulin resistant issues. A ton of people do. They just
Mhm.
don't know it, right?
No, because they've lived that way for so long. They
Yeah.
don't know what normal is.
Right.
They think
Just
they're
talk
normal.
about that
Well,
all
this
the
is just
time.
how it's always been.
Yes.
Just because that's how it's always been does not mean that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Do you want to talk about any of the GLP-1s more? What do you want to,
I think we kind of covered
what do you
it.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I think we
mean-
did.
I have a
understand
much
things.
better understanding of which one.
Yeah. And also I find this very interesting actually is that the trizipatide hits men's dopamine, whereas Retta doesn't.
Trizipatide has a stronger effect on dopamine, which helps you with cravings more. That's why you really don't eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm
As much.
more like talking about for men like libido wise.
But it can affect libido
Yeah.
negatively for men.
Negatively, really.
Well, men are their horniness has a lot
Mhm.
to do with dopamine levels. So the downside to taking trizepatide is it can affect sex drive in men.
Interesting.
Females don't really work that way. You guys are
Right.
different, so females don't have to worry about that.
One thing they
males
don't have to worry
yeah,
about.
yeah. But
Right.
For males, a lot of males don't like trizepatide for that reason.
Interesting.
That's where
That's
retatrutide
very
would be a better
interesting.
option,
Yeah.
Right. So
or semaglutide for that matter.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good to know.
I think the
Yeah.
takeaways from today would be, number one, if you are overweight, these new GLP-1s are amazing.
yes.
They work on everybody
Mm-hmm.
if
Yep.
taken properly. Sometimes you have to adjust the dosage, and it's not one size fits all. So, if you've done semaglutide and done a GLP-1, it didn't work for you. It probably was just the wrong one for you. Everyone's different biochemically. And if you really want to get down to the root cause, I really strongly recommend at least test cortisol in your gut, because your microbiome and your cortisol levels have everything to do with how you retain fat, visceral fat.
Mhm.
And if you have issues there and don't fix those, you're still going to struggle no matter even with the GLP-1s. So
Yep.
if you really want to fix it long term and fix your core metabolism, those are the two tests you have to do.
I agree.
Same.
All right. If you're listening to this episode today and you have any questions about the GLP-1s or anything that we went over, we'd love to hear from you. And if not, we will see you on our next episode. Ciao.
Bye.
Right?